Chapter 5, A Kitchen Oil Spill. As I closed my journal, Mama arrived home from work. She sat next to me on the edge of the driveway. "You've been doing so much work these past few days, Taya," she said, giving my shoulders a squeeze. "Does it feel good to help?" "Yes, but not good enough. I'm worried," I said. Mama nodded. "I know, we all are. But you're really making a difference," she said. "Thomas stopped by this morning and told me so. This oil spill is a horrible thing, but I'm really proud of the way you've responded." "Thanks, Mama," I said. "I am glad that Sam and I are able to help. I just keep thinking I wish I knew more about how the cleanup process actually works," I said. "If I understood it better, maybe I could think of more areas of the river that we might need to protect." "Have you asked Thomas about it?" Mama asked. "No," I said. "I don't want to bother him. He's so busy. All the environmental engineers and volunteers are." We were both quiet for a few moments. Then Mama said, "I've got an idea. Why don't we try cleaning up an oil spill ourselves?" I frowned. "I don't know, Mama. Thomas said it could be dangerous to try cleaning up an oil spill if you don't have the right training." "Yes, and he's right. But I'm not thinking of the oil spill in the river," Mama explained. "I'm thinking of a much smaller oil spill, like one in our kitchen. Come on." I followed Mama into the kitchen. She took a bowl out of the cupboard and filled it with water. "Can you get me the cooking oil?" I pulled the bottle down from a shelf and handed it to her. "Look, it's a model," Mama said. "The bowl of water models the river, and the cooking oil models the oil that was spilled. See?" She poured a spoonful of oil into the bowl. "Wow, it is like the oil on the river," I said. "Look at how it floats on top of the water." "Right," Mama agreed. "But in the river, currents would make the water move. Kind of like this," I said, lightly shaking the bowl. "Exactly," Mama said. "So should we try to clean it up? How do you think we should start?" I said. "I remember Thomas telling us that you need to ask good questions to come up with a good process for cleaning the oil spill." Thomas said that asking questions is the first step of the engineering design process. Mama and I asked about how well different materials worked to contain and remove the oil. Then we imagined more materials and new ways to use the materials. We made a plan for combining materials and tested them out. Then we changed the order of how we were using the materials to try to improve our cleanup design. "That worked pretty well," I said, after we'd improved our design a few times, "but there are still some tiny drops of oil in the water. It seems like it's impossible to remove all of the oil from the water." "I think that's why the work that you're doing with Thomas is so difficult," Mama said. "Once the oil has been spilled, it's not easy to clean it up at all." The next day, before Sam and I went down to the river, I brought Sam into the kitchen and showed him what I'd learned about cleaning up oil spills from the tests I did with Mama. I pulled out my journal. I found the page with the photo of the eagle catching the fish. Now that we've done some testing, I think I understand the technologies that are using to clean the river. But it's not just the river that I'm worried about. Thomas said it was important to think about the whole ecosystem, all the land and the water and the plants and the animals in the area. "Right," Sam said. "Remember the other day when you were wondering if the fish in the river and the birds that eat the fish would be okay?" It reminded me of the food webs we learned about in school. Organisms get energy by eating other organisms or plants. So if the fish get sick from the oil spill, the birds that eat the fish could also become sick. I nodded. "But lots of other animals use the river for food and water," Sam continued. "Can they be hurt too?" "I think so," I said. "There are the bears that eat the fish, and the deer that drink from the river. And there are all the plants growing in and on the sides of the river. Animals eat those plants too." I paused and thought for a few moments. "I don't know. Maybe we're overreacting." "No, Taya, I don't think you are," Mama said as she walked into the kitchen. "You're absolutely right. We can't look at all the animals and plants that live around us as single organisms. Everything in the ecosystem is connected, and not just because of the food web. The animals also rely on the river for water and shelter, and the rocks and..." "Right," Sam said. "Everything is connected to everything else. It's just like the ancient Kalam stories that have been passed down tell us. The oil spill is one event that polluted the river," I said, "but it's affecting so much more than the water in the river. It affects plants and animals and the entire ecosystem." Mama gave me a big hug. "I'm glad you're able to understand how everything is connected. As Kalam, Those connections are important part of who you are, and I think you're doing a great job sharing your knowledge with the other people who are working to clean up the oil spill. I just wish I could share more, I said. I think I know a way that you could share more, Mama said, with this, and she tapped my journal with her index finger. Share your pictures, Taya. I think you have a lot to say with your pictures.